Good evening. This is State Representative Robert Martwick, and I'm coming to you from the state capitol in Springfield, Illinois. It's about 7:45 on Tuesday, and this is the first day of our second week of Veto Session here in Springfield. Veto Session, a little Civics 101, this is the period of time when we come back to address vetoes of the governor, bills that he vetoed. We have to vote on them again to decide whether or not his veto will be sustained or it will be overridden. As many of you know, 2 weeks ago we had our first week of veto session and we overrode a number of the governor's bills, record numbers of bills, in fact, and there's a video on my Facebook page here that talked about that first week. But we are not limited when we're here at veto session to just dealing with vetoes of prior bills. We can come up with new legislation. And as many people are aware, since the Harvey Weinstein scandal broke, there has been much talk about sexual harassment in the workplace, and much of that is focused around sexual harassment in politics and government. And so there have been some complaints that have surfaced about conduct of certain people here in the Capitol. And as a result of this, the legislature has done a real reckoning on our failures as a government body to create a safe workplace, a workplace where everyone feels safe to do their work without harassment, and our failure to address complaints. And so today, a whole bevy of legislation was passed before the legislature. There are a number of bills that were passed. Probably the most important bill that was passed creates a requirement now going forward. Before this bill, sexual harassment training and discrimination training was recommended but not mandatory, and now it will be mandatory, and there will be a very clearly defined set of laws and rules, regulations, and processes for people who fail to comply with this training. And then, of course, what will happen if people run afoul of the law and create or perpetrate sexual harassment in here in the workplace in Springfield. So there was a bill that was passed today. All of these bills, as you can imagine, were passed overwhelmingly bipartisan support, and that's a good thing. This is not a partisan issue. Another piece of legislation that was passed creates a task force, and I think this is important because this is our way to study what's going on, what's happened, and really steps that we can take to create an environment where the victims of sexual harassment feel that we can create a space for them to come forward, talk about their experiences in a manner that they feel comfortable with and not threatened with, and hopefully this can lead to, again, solving some of the problems that we've had in the past, addressing those and making sure this doesn't happen going forward. Finally, a resolution passed by Representative Sarah Feigenholz. All of these bills, of course, I was co-sponsors on, but the resolution passed by Sarah Feigenholz, while only a resolution, really speaks to an important part of changing the culture here in Springfield. And this is, while it might seem like lip service, it's actually very important, because that changing the culture, one of the biggest problems here is the fact that people who are victims of sexual harassment feel that they can't come forward and make complaints because it will affect their ability to do their jobs here. And so we need to change that culture, and that resolution calls on every member of the legislature to participate in changing the culture here in Springfield to make sure that sexual harassment is not permitted. So these are the things that were done here today. I think they're good first steps. It does not erase the sins of the past. It does not make what we have done in the past okay, but it creates a path forward to make sure that this will not happen in the future, and hopefully create a path that we can investigate these claims. There was, oh, by the way, a new new Inspector General appointed for the legislature, and there is a bill pending that will remove statutes of limitations so that past complaints can be investigated thoroughly, and hopefully in those instances where there has been found to be actual sexual harassment, then justice can be done in those cases. So that's a big chunk of what we did today, sexual harassment in the workplace here in Springfield. And There were a couple of veto overrides. I overrode one of the governor's vetoes on one of my bills, a pension bill. Representative Will Gazzardi, student loan bill of rights. Again, this is creating a situation, or trying to correct a situation where student loan servicers are not doing the right thing by the students that they're supposed to be helping navigate through student loan debt, and so he created a student loan bill of rights that the governor vetoed. Again, we overrode that overwhelmingly as well. So other good things that went on here. One last note, pensions, of course, I'm the chairman of pensions, as many of you know. One of the big proposals of the governor in this past session was we had to create a Tier 3 pension system that provided a 401k style investment. That has, of course, been the mantra of Republicans. Do away with pensions, create 401k style savings that will save money. What they gave us was a couple of sentences of language, insisted that it be part of the budget deal that we passed, promised that it would create $500 million of current budget savings, and really delivered on none of that. We have engaged in weeks of discussions about how to implement this Tier 3 system, this 401k style investment. We've gone through weeks of meetings in a bipartisan fashion, trying to create a system that can be implemented. The systems can implement. We can actually start this at the insistence of the Republicans. And today, I presented a bill in committee, and all of the Republicans voted no, even though they'd been part of this. So the system that they demanded, they're actually refusing to help implement it, and perhaps that's because there's nowhere near the savings that they promised would be in there. So once again, pensions remains a sore spot. My problem, of course, is that instead of actually dealing with the policies, the public policy of trying to fix the pensions, trying to find savings where we can, and trying to do it in a correct and honest and forthright fashion, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle have decided to play politics with it once again, only kicking the can down the road to make things worse. Something I won't engage in, so we'll see where that leads. I'll keep you updated. Tomorrow will be one more day of veto overrides, and then we'll be done, and I'll give you another wrap-up video on that. But for now, that's what happened here in the Capitol today. If you have any questions, of course, comment here, reach out to my office, send me an email, repmartwick@gmail.com. I'm always happy to hear complaints, criticisms, advice, whatever you have. Please give me your thoughts. Until tomorrow, thank you for listening. We'll see you again.